After looking at some of the commentary made on comments about videos discussing the gaming community's treatment of the opposite sex, I made some comments, and as a result of an irony to my behavior that downright sport on hypocrisy, I've decided that, okay, I should put in my 2 cents. Well, it's going to be more like $2 when I'm done talking. But honestly, there's just plenty of things to talk about. Let me summarize about the gender wars, since the underlying problem is with them. Members of both genders are guilty of simply asinine nonsense. Starting with the guys, actually for reasons that ultimately boil down to being personal, you'll probably see why. But anyway, here's a basic general summary. Guys often want stimulation, certainly more than gals in general. This points to 2 things. Why video games is a general boys-only club, as one of the videos put it, and why guys want girl pleasure so much. The latter point is particularly irksome, because it leads to a lot of problems. The thing is, guys usually have better bodies than gals, the thing that causes the irony that provides interest in savvy guy energetic girl, for the record. And over 80 to 90% of the time, it is guaranteed that the guy can easily overpower the girl for his pleasure. This is counterbalanced by guys typically not being as smart, but that's painfully indirect, and I'm talking about a situation that likely demands being direct. Oh, and then I mentioned that the girl has to handle whatever expectations happens. Yeah. So the end result is that the gals have to preempt that stupidity. Meanwhile, guys are easier to stereotype as savages, and it's not like they generally carry what. In fact, people of both genders put excessive value in whether a guy is an awesome based on shallow factors and only support Sturgeon's law. Any guy, if you don't care about girl pleasures, you will soon enough because of peer pressure. Of course, while guys do definitely cause clearly unwarranted problems for pleasure, this doesn't mean that the opposite sex should be let off the hook. They're pulling shenanigans that make them just as bad. I understand that in comparison to guys, they're squishy wizards, but what they do is over the top. Trust me, I'm basically a squishy wizard myself, so I can sympathize at the very least. But girls, when you vent your problems on me, well, there's your reason why your motive makes your own crimes worse. The manipulation that girls pull easily reaches outright callous levels. They pretend to be pleasant while pulling some sadistic shenanigans for, at best, shallow reasons like caring so much about muscles or money. Oh, God. God, Lex looks for a check. Yes, they have no reason to not be pleasant. If they're worried so much about a situation getting out of hand, they should get creative. A guy is going to want either girl pleasures from any of the 3 billion fish in the sea, or the gal herself. Now, okay, the gals want to make sure that guys can't force themselves on them. I'm for that. But what is unacceptable is the unnecessary response. But then that's easily explained by more occurring unacceptable behavior. They're interested in pulling mocking behavior on guys. Yes, they're interested in their lunacy. It's not only hypocritical, it's surprisingly worse than wanting girl pleasures in and of itself. That at least can easily be a subconscious desire to provide affection. I am not saying that all females should do no teething in a relationship. In fact, they should do some teething. But good heavens, if you have no interest in being in a relationship with the person, it's not funny. Treat the person with respect and dignity, or you're asking for being treated with anything but. Oh, right, I forget. There's a lot of biased, hypocritical, white-knighting jerkholes out there. To them, the man always deserves it. Simply because they don't have a certain biological difference. But simply because of something involving their birth. Now maybe I sound rather sexist, and if I'm overboard about it, I apologize, even though the mere videos I'm responding to is talking about the gender divide. But I had shown a video to somebody else within the comments to showcase some disgusting chauvinism by a guy that was posted in a message sent from the account of his... Well, yes, the gist is that while making death threats, the guy actually called the girl his freaking property! And the girl slated him on her account to make death threats as well. What is this? I don't even... It had me thinking, because it becomes insultingly easy to think I'm nice thing as I'm charming when I want to be. But yes, I actually do harbor excess interest in girl pleasures, and I can be a jackal too. Can I help it? Depends. Tell me if you could grow up having all three siblings being both female and older than you. So granted, I end up being taught to treat girls with respect and dignity, and I actually appreciate it. Which makes me more upset that the chauvinistic stupidity is enabled and rewarded. And treating the opposite sex like individuals. And treating them like individuals. Want to know something? I have, for 14 years and counting, harbored a crush on an ironically named Genki girl, whose mere introduction to me had actually outed herself as such, no less. And honestly, I do miss her. I really do. The reason I don't do anything more than talk about this is because she rather decided to be icy when I had tried contacting her in more recent years. What a shame, because what I saw was this vivacious, cute gal, not some ice queen. It's confusing she could even be such, because when I first knew her, I was already made aware of quirks of hers that made her intellectual laziness look tame. And they're not ice queen flaws, believe me. Right. Point is, I'm not claiming I'm nice. Why should I? But come on, I do still have my preferences in marriage. The whole thing with the crush would be manageable if gals provided more genuine more often. To those who would at this point want to claim that I don't care anyway, and considering all the stupidity I've been through with no insight I should, I doubt I would even be aware of the existence of videos like video games and a female audience if I didn't, because the extra credits channel itself is commentary about game design. And yet here I am, saying stuff with no regard to being politically correct, because, you know, I totally don't want friends. And if the problem is that I am being a busybody, then, okay, you prefer I do nothing about the injustices both to and from the opposite sex? I'm sure you would really like it and not cause videos called things like video games and the female audience to be made. Oh wait. That said, there's another subject that annoys me since extra credits also brought it up, and that's the behavior of gaming communities in general. Not just toward females by sending them demeaning messages such as telling them to go back to the kitchen. That sort of stuff is self-explanatory. At least I would hope it would be. Let me summarize what extra credits talks about. Gaming community members send messages like the aforementioned "go back to the kitchen," "I hope you get breast cancer and die," "I hope you get..." Wait a minute. The gaming community members are hypocrites, and they're sending these messages just to be saying it's trash too. Oh my god. So anyway, as I was saying, after things that get said, extra credits talks about girls being treated like trash, consequently making games anything but fun, which goes against their very point, in that the excuses for the gay guys pulling that are stupid, and how beating trolls is going to require a coordinated effort. Granted that I do question the exact idea that extra credits comes up with, so they're better than nothing. And that the gaming culture is an open, accepting culture instead of riddled with trash. That last one brings up the irksome irony I want to talk about. See, the gaming communities have the misfortunes of being plagued by many unpleasant, and hypocritical characters. To provide some examples, first it's the Fire Emblem failbase, having too many shallow wits and trolls who all do with each other what guys generally want to do with gals. Believe me, it's rampant. Then there's the advanced source communities. When they're not having cheap humors at others' expense, such as singing songs, mocking lust-induced murder victims like Matthew Pike, they are doing things like deleting the likes of the net attack page from a wiki just because it's not needed. I wish I was joking, but it's them who's doing it, and they're doing it in disgusting manners. There is one community that has cruel, non-joking behavior going on. Smashboards, home of the incarnation of Stop Having Fun Guy Slime Balls. Want to make a suggestion on how to rebalance a game they agree is imbalanced? Be prepared to be told that the Smashboard members, like Jackmaster, are normally not super aggressive in debates, but your self-righteousness and ignorance are literally making them mad. And that you want to cancel Smash. Tell me that's not self-explanatory. And my personal favorite, the Kid Icarus Uprising board on Game FAQs. You know I complained about the slimy kits of the previous two? The Kid Icarus Uprising board has both of these types. I even got called a subhuman by everybody's favorite sociopath, and Hominiumkin, aka Raphael, who provides a frankly hypocritical reason considering that he is claiming that I am complaining about claws being given unnatural traits when I complain about them not having proper checking. And by all signs, that's just a start, as I hear complaints about the Sonic fanbase having trolls in a quantity like you wouldn't believe. The point is, just because the gaming culture members are supposed to be the good guys, doesn't mean they are. Not when so many of the members are no better than the likes of girl posses who give pleasure to the jerkles as a reward for things like death threats, rather than being anything genuinely nice, or those jerkles in and of themselves. When it comes down to it, the gaming culture is about a form of media meant to focus on audience activity. The target audience has a mindset with an easy time acting dangerously close like sociopaths. Not that that's an excuse for the behavior of the likes of Chipface or Raltrios. Still, we the gaming culture are supposed to be the guys who are supposed to be open, awesome friends. Yet here we are at each other's throats in the name of pride. Unfortunately, the gaming community like to manage it backwards, counterintuitive rewarding too. The mere fact that the likes of Chipface and Raltrius are popular is disgusting. It means that all you have to do is flex your E-muscles and boom, you can do no wrong, even when you mock dead people! That's beyond stupid. And this proves why all of the suggestions provided by extra credits for stopping online play harassment are bad. They enforce popular opinion without thinking it possibly a bad thing. The third one, making communication unlockable, comes the closest to avoiding that issue, but even then it has to be well executed and exploit-proofed so that it can actually catch the actual sociopath like Chip-Based Raltrios and Omega Tyrants, even when they're high-functioning. That's the thing. Game companies only care about making these games and do not think to make sure that their games instill some worthwhile values in their players. And they're not the only ones to blame, oh no. How about the players themselves? They decide that, hey, these games are perfectly balanced and whatnot. Let's not change the bloody thing. Never mind that chess got rebalanced in a way that created a case of savvy guy energetic girl and a full millennium after its inception. The mere fact that the players pull cruelty in the first place is on them too. And unfortunately, they think that what they do isn't sadism because they aren't punished. There is hope, though. There are gamers who will do altruistic things for the benefit of others, or at the very least take responsibility for what they themselves do. They're the ones you should trust, but they are few and far between. And what we are dealing with is a classroom that unfortunately doesn't even have group punishment like tear gas. And these aren't even kids; these are grown people. In order to fight back, we have to prove that their seed-inducing cruelty is just them being nothing but monsters, tarnishing the name of a culture that's supposed to be better than the stereotypical high school hierarchy. Oh no, this may sound hypocritical coming out of my mouth, but people need to learn to be more mature. It's not like it's impossible. A good online friend of mine was called the nicest person on YouTube, and when he does things like responding to that with using a forest fire comparison to justify his usage of two wrongs don't make a right, you can tell that's not an exaggeration. Well, back to being an ultimate gamer 386, I guess.